Sending Yuri Gagarin into space was a huge achievement for the Soviet Union. It helped the country to get ahead in the space race with the United States. Gagarin spent a total of 108 minutes flying around the Earth in his Vostok spacecraft. Decades later, it's an event that fills Russians with pride, even as the country's modern-day space program struggles to keep up with the Soviet legacy of success. April 12th is marked annually in Russia as Cosmonautics Day, with celebrations this year bigger than ever. On Monday, President Vladimir Putin visited the site where Gagarin returned to Earth, a potato field in southern Russia, where a memorial now stands. Last week, a Soyuz spacecraft bearing Gagarin's name set off from the same cosmodrome as the first Russian cosmonaut, Baikonur in Kazakhstan. It carried 2 Russian cosmonauts and an American astronaut to the International Space Station, one of few areas of cooperation between the 2 rival countries. Daria Bondarchuk, SABC News, Moscow.
Thank you very much indeed for that report. Joining me now is Alexander Arefiev, who's the press attaché at the Embassy of the Russian Federation. So, very good evening to you. Thanks indeed for joining us here on The Full View. So, Yuri Gagarin did this so many years ago, quite important. It's quite an important mission then, as it is today, isn't it?
Good evening. Yes, indeed. Yuri Gagarin's mission is just as important as ever.
Let's talk a bit about that, this historic moment, helping us to understand better of what is really taking place in outer space. Talk to us about the significance of that particular moment then as it is now.
Yes, as I said, it didn't lose even a fraction of its importance. And I would like to point out first that the Cosmonautics Day, 12th of April, is celebrated annually in Russia. It's not a public holiday, but nonetheless, we do attach great importance to this day. Because on 12th of April, we pay tribute not only to Yuri Gagarin, but to all our brave space explorers. We do take pride in the fact that our country was a true pioneer of space exploration, and thus we celebrate the triumph of our science, of our national unity, and our spirit. As Yuri Gagarin once said himself, "My glory is not mine. Is it possible that I made it to the outer space entirely on my own? No, this is the merit of our people." And we are celebrating this merit on Cosmonautics Day. Well, to quote Yuri Gagarin once more, the Soviet people achieved this success for the benefit of humankind.
Yeah.
And this is, to my mind, one of the reasons why the Cosmonautics Day and Yuri Gagarin's flight has its everlasting importance.
And never more, I guess, have we seen the importance of science than it is in, society today. Would you say that that has been one of Russia's biggest achievements in the field of science and space since then?
Well, Yuri Gagarin's flight was a glorious page in the history of space exploration, that is for sure, but it wasn't the first, and it wasn't the last historic achievement of the Soviet space program. I should probably start with the launch of Sputnik 1, Earth's first artificial satellite, which was launched from legendary Baikonur cosmodrome on 4th of October 1957. And Yuri Gagarin's flight itself proved that it was humanly possible to travel to outer space, and that, in its turn, paved the way for more future achievements of the Soviet space program, because USSR was also the one which launched Luna 9 space apparatus. It was the first to perform a successful landing on the moon. Soviet space program Mars 1, for example, was put on the Mars orbit, also for the first time in history. And besides, the USSR also had a separate research program dedicated to exploration of Venus, which is the reason why, interesting fact for you, Venus is even sometimes referred to as the Soviet planet. And besides, Yuri Gagarin was not the only Soviet space explorer. The first woman in space was also a Soviet citizen, Valentina Tereshkova, who performed her flight on 16th of June 1963. And the man who performed the first spacewalk in history was also Yuri Gagarin's compatriot, Alexei Leonov. And of course, I should mention the orbital stations, the Soviet orbital stations of the Salyut series. They gave us the opportunity to carry out scientific experiments in space on board of those stations. These were the humanity's first outposts in space. Just think about it.
Yeah.
And the pinnacle of the Salyut series was the Mir space station. It was the world's first modular space station. Over 20,000 experiments were carried out on board of the station. It's a total world record. And this station spent 15 years in orbit, since 1986 to 2001, until it was discontinued. So as you can see, there are plenty of other achievements.
Sure. Are there any next in store, I guess, for Russia's space program to carry on, I guess, the works of people like Yuri Gagarin?
Yeah, certainly. There are plans for the future. Space exploration needs to be moved to a whole new level, because even the International Space Station, ISS, won't stay forever in the orbit. Because every machine, unfortunately, every mechanism has its limits, even the state-of-art ones, such as ISS. And moving to a new level requires new technological solutions. And Russia, as one of the leaders of space exploration, is working on it. According to Dmitry Rogozin, Director General of Russian Space Agency Roscosmos, Russia is on the verge of moving to new rocket equipment and commencing new moon missions, which are to be carried out both by space crews and automatically. Also, we're planning to launch a new multifunctional module for the ISS and to start the flight trials of new Russian carrier rockets, Angara and Soyuz 5, as well as reusable crewed spacecraft. And we also need to test those new hydrogen space engines. So as you can see, we have a lot on our plate.
Thank you very much indeed for speaking to us today. Alexander Arefiev, the press attaché at the Embassy of the Russian Federation in South Africa. Thanks indeed for joining us here on The Full View. So tributes are still